I'm what you might call a collector of bootleg Pokemon games. Pokemon Diamond and Jade, Chaos Black, etc. It's amazing the frequency in which you may find them at pawn shops, Goodwills and flea markets and such. They are generally fun, even if they are unplayable, which they oftentimes are. The mistranslations and poor quality make them unintentionally humorous. I've been able to find most of the ones that I've played online, but there are some I haven't seen any mention of. Fortunately, I have moved 2 years ago and lost the game, so I can't provide any screen caps. Sorry. Game started with the familiar Nidorino and Gengar intro of Pokemon Red version. However, the press start screen was altered. Red was there, but the Pokemon did not cycle through. It also said Black version under the Pokemon logo. Upon selecting New Game, the game started up, Professor Oak's speech going, and it quickly became evident that the game was essentially Pokemon Red. After selecting your starter, if you were to look at your Pokemon, you had in addition to Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander, there was yet another Pokemon, Ghost. The Pokemon was level 1. It had the sprite of the ghosts which are encountered in Lavender Town before obtaining the Sylph Skull. It had one attack, Curse. I know there is a real move named Curse, but the attack did not exist in Generation 1, so it appeared to have been hacked in. Defending Pokemon were unable to attack Ghost. It would only say that they were too scared to move. When the move Curse was used in battle, the screen would cut to black, and the cry of the defending Pokemon would be heard, but it was distorted, if you will, played at a much lower pitch than normal. The battle scene would reappear, and the defending Pokemon would be gone. If used in a battle against a trainer, when Pokeballs representing their Pokemon would appear in the corner, they would have one fewer Pokeball. The move Curse was not usable in all instances. It would fail against another Ghost-type Pokemon. It would also fail if used against the trainers you would have to face again, such as your rival or Giovanni. It was only usable in your final fight against them, however. I figured this was a gimmick of the game, allowing you to use the previously uncapturable Ghost Pokemon. And because Curse made the game so easy, I essentially used it throughout my whole adventure. The game changed quite a bit after defeating the Elite Four, however. After viewing the Hall of Fame, which consisted of Ghost and a couple of Pokemon I used for HMs, the screen would cut to black. A box appeared with the words, "Many years later." It then cut to Lavender Town and moved at only half your normal walking speed. You no longer had any Pokemon, not even Ghost, who up to this point had been impossible to remove from your party through the depositing in the PC. The overworld was entirely empty. There were no people at all. There were still the tombstones of the trainers that you had used Curse on, however. You can go pretty much anywhere in the overworld at this point, though your movement was limited by the fact that you had no Pokemon to use HMs. And regardless of wherever you went, the music of Lavender Town continued on an infinite loop. After wandering for a while, I found that you can go through Diglett's cave. One of the cuttable bushes that normally blocked your path on the other side was no longer there, allowing you access and return to Pallet Town. Upon entering your house and going to the exact tile where you start the game on, the screen would cut to black. Then a sprite of Caterpie appeared. It was replaced by a Weedle, and then by a Pidgey. I soon realized, as the Pokemon progressed from Rattata to Blastoise, they were all of the Pokemon I had used Curse on. After the end of my rival's team, a youngster appeared, and then a Bugcatcher. These were trainers I had used Curse on. Throughout the sequence, the Lavender Town music was playing, but slowly decreasing in pitch. By the time your rival appeared, it was little more than a demonic rumble. Another cut to black. A few moments later, the battle screen suddenly appeared. Your trainer sprite was now an old man, the same one as seen who teaches you to catch Pokemon in Viridian City. Ghost appeared on the other side, along with the words, "Ghost wants to fight." You couldn't use any items, and you had no Pokemon. If you tried to run, you cannot escape. The only option was fight. Using fight would immediately cause you to use struggle, which didn't affect Ghost, but chipped off a bit of your own health. When it was Ghost's turn to attack, it simply said ... Eventually, your HP reached a critical point. Ghost finally used Curse. The screen cut to black for the final time. Regardless of the buttons you pressed, you were permanently stuck in this black screen. At this point, the only thing you can do was to turn the Game Boy off. When played again, New Game was the only option. The game had erased the file. I played through this hacked game many times, and every time the game ended with this sequence. Several times I did not use Ghost at all, though he was impossible to remove from my party. In these cases, it did not show any Pokemon, nor trainers, and simply cut to the climactic battle with Ghost. I'm not sure what the motives were behind the creator of this hack. It wasn't widely distributed, so presumably not for any monetary gain. It was very well done for a bootleg. It seems he was trying to convey a message, though it would seem I am the sole receiver of this message. I'm not entirely sure what the message was. The inevitability of death, the pointlessness of it. Perhaps he was simply trying to morbidly inject death and darkness to a children's game. Regardless, this children's game has made me think, and has made me cry. The end. Thank you for listening. If you liked the video, consider hitting that like button. And if you really liked it, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. And as always, stay safe, my Pokemon masters.